Smell is one of the most powerful human senses, and now a Canadian woman is using scent to empower farmers in Afghanistan. 7 Virtues is a new brand of perfumes made from organic products in Afghanistan. The fragrances are sold in Canada, but what this business venture has done is persuade farmers to abandon the illegal poppy trade and instead shift their focus to growing orange blossoms for fragrance oil. Barb Stegemann is the woman behind the project. She's with us in studio, and so is her business partner and investor, Brett Wilson. Thank you both for coming in. Such an interesting project. And I guess to begin with, this started with you had a friend who was injured in Afghanistan. That friend we all know in the news was Trevor Green, who was hit in the head with an axe, who is doing
fantastic.
Well,
he's one of the most powerful, power of vision and really just his survival instincts. But when he was injured, all of a sudden you go, what can I do? How can I help the mission while he heals? And I realized there aren't many ways for citizens to really engage and support the mission of security and economic empowerment. So,
and at the same time, the poppy industry is huge because of the drug trade, and this is giving people a choice. Farmers have a choice to get involved in this. But how did you get to that, to say, I want to use these oils?
Well, I wrote a book. I wanted to empower women. I dedicated it to Captain Green because he woke me up. And as I was going along, I found this article on this gentleman, Abdullah Arsala in Jalalabad, and he wanted the farmers to get off the crops and had the distillery with the orange blossom and rose, and the terrorists kept knocking over his distillery. And I thought, I'm going to help you. I've got to find you, Abdullah, because this supports my best friend's mission.
Yeah.
And so I went to Ottawa. I met with the CETA executives. They helped me find Abdullah. And I started realizing you can do trade with nations in strife, and we need more people to do that.
And you, Brett, would get a number of pitches on any given day. And then this one comes in the door. And what made you stand behind it? Because it's a pretty huge endeavor.
Well, first of all, I invest in people, and so Barb stands on the shoulders of many in terms of coming to the table, and I fell in love with what she is in terms of the empowerment and her process and the people. Then I fell in love with her business, and when I put the two together, investing in the person and investing in the business, this was a pretty easy investment to make.
Thank you.
So this is, when you think about it, and which is, tell me some of the numbers. I'm fascinated by it because from perfume, from, you know, and employing these people with these, you know, really, in some cases, ancient oils. Orange blossom trees were planted hundreds and hundreds of years ago. How many people is it helping right now?
There are 2,500 farmers working, and they're getting more farmers off the crops, and the harvest is just ending right now for the orange blossom. Abdullah was working 20-hour days because I said, we'll buy everything you can make. And I did not have the power to do that until I met with Brett and his investment, and now with the Bay, we're in 91 stores. Because we're in 91 Bay stores, we can buy up all the oils. I needed that hit. So I needed his money to make 10,000 bottles to then call a department store. And so all of us are working together, and they're going in overdrive to get more farmers off the crops, and it's really a beautiful story.
We're now taking all of the product that Afghanistan can produce.
Right, so there is no, so you make sure that, and they know, Abdullah in this case knows, that he has this market, that it's sewn up, that it's on a contract, so he can keep these people working.
We'll never leave them. We'll buy extra. We'll keep it, and we'll make other things.
When I was in Afghanistan last fall, I actually met with Abdullah. He came in from Jalalabad to Kabul to meet with me. He was one of the most impressive business pitches, standalone from Barb. He was one of the most impressive business pitches I've ever seen. We're looking at adding capital to expand his distillery as well. So not just buying his product, but empowering him.
And is he still being targeted?
I'm not there. I think, what can you say? I know the man's
because
doing
as it gets bigger, one would see he would have a little bit more power.
I think what it's doing, from my observation and what I'm hearing, it's actually giving farmers faith that this is the way, because it goes against Islamic tenets to grow the poppy crop. So not only is it economically empowering them to buy the rose and the orange, the legal crops, but it gives them their dignity. And I think from country to country, we need to start honoring each other. And even though we may not be the same faith or the same culture, but to respect and give people dignity, that goes farther than anything in terms of messaging in the community. So I think it's going out, and they're hearing, there are these Canadians, we support your dignity, we support your economic empowerment, because everybody wants to buy shoes and books for their kids in a safe environment. That's all anyone wants.
So over the course of this, well, of course, Captain Trevor Green's your friend, but you got to know him as well. And what has he thought of all of this?
Oh, Trevor's pretty But it's pretty easy to get emotional talking about Trevor Green because his recovery was a miracle. He is one of the most inspiring men I've ever met.
Inspired all
he
of
came
us.
to a charity event, Operation Western Front, that we did in Vancouver just a few weeks ago in support of military families. And the letter he wrote me afterwards saying he would return to war if I was standing at his back, well, I lost it. I mean, so an empowering man, an empowering story, and just to have Trevor part of this circle is a pretty cool. And these are things I didn't even know about when I first stumbled into the whirlwind that is Barb.
This is just a great project, great business. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing the story. And people can get these perfumes now at the Bay, at all of the outlets in the Bay in Canada, right?
That's right.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.